Let's head into the papers now, see what the headlines are saying in Nigeria. And I have with me in the studio Dario Odufowokon, a journalist, as well as a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. All right, let's begin with the Guardian newspaper. That's where we start from this morning. Foreign airlines shun Nigeria's airspace over safety concerns. That's the first headline we're having this morning. It's coming from the aviation sector. Foreign airlines shun Nigeria's airspace over safety concerns. And has some multiple riders there saying operators blame poor communication on qualified traffic controllers. We are restructuring airspace to end challenges, says NAMA. House of Reps tax aviation agencies on standards. You find all that on the front page of The Guardian. Let's move now to The Nation newspaper. And it says, Soyinka is saying cattle colonies can set Nigeria on fire. The Rivers rejects policy. Plateau PDP Birom community tackle along. All right, you can find out on the front page of The Nation newspaper. Okay, let's move now to Daily Trust. And it says how Magajin Garing Daura was rescued. Victim in Abuja for medical checks and jubilation in Daura. You will recall that about a few months ago, the district head of Daura was kidnapped, and he's been rescued now. Okay, moving ahead to the News Direct. Nigeria holds about 2.2% of global oil reserves. Baru is saying that, and that's Mekanti Baru, the GNB of NNPC, largest producer of oil and gas in Africa. All right. Good record. On the other hand, Nigerians wait to see how they benefit from all of that. It translates to their prosperity. Moving on now to Blueprints. The Blueprint newspaper is next. My next level requires formidable team. President Buhari is saying that, determined to end insecurity. That's the front page of the Blueprint. That's what you see there. Okay. Moving now to Daily Sun. Lawan is saying Senate won't be a rubber stamp. Says senators will monitor contract award and execution, as well as others. Okay, you find all that on the front page of the Daily Sun. Okay. Gentlemen, this story has not left the front burner in Nigeria yet. The cattle colonies issue, or Ruga, or the ranches, depending on how anyone calls it. Some say it's just semantics. It refers to, creating a space for cattle rearing. The Nation newspaper puts it, it's a call from Professor Wole Soyinka saying that cattle colonies can set Nigeria on fire. Now, the issue there is, many people have said, the issue, the trade, or the issue of cattle is not new in Nigeria. Why is there so much controversy about cattle settlement, or the Ruga settlement, or the Ruga scheme? Let me start with you, Dari.
Well, I would put down the controversy to the way the federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari is going about it.
Okay.
There is no big deal about trying to intervene in certain sectors of the economy. But when you intervene in such a manner that you make the people feel, cows are now worth more than human lives, there will be chaos. And that's exactly what is happening.
How is it going about it?
If you are saying you are going to create Ruga, it has been constantly interpreted by those who understand what this government wants to do to mean creating settlements for Fulani cattle rearers, or breeders in this case, because the intention is to have them breed cow in a particular location.
But it's not only Fulanis that own cows, not only Fulanis rear cows.
If we do not wish to deceive ourselves, if we throw it open and say, okay, everybody owns cows, the Ruga is in Shomolu local government for you in Lagos State, please go there and you have a settlement to stay. Between you and I, we would know that 80% of those who will go there and qualify to stay there based on cattle ownership and the skills required. Even Yoruba cattle owners will require those who know how to do it. And we know the direction of people they will go to. I am not against creating space or having areas where cattle rearing or cattle breeding can help reduce the clashes between cattle owners and farmers. But I am against creating settlements. If you are saying they are going to have their own hospitals, they're going to have their own school, they're going to have their own infrastructure, it has to have created a settlement. In 10, 20 years, 30 years time, the issue of indigenship will rear its head, and we will have solved the problem of farmer cattle owner clashes and create clashes between indigenous and settlers.
Okay.
I mean, where would that leave us?
All right, Jide, that brings us to this controversy of indigenous settler issue. We are all Nigerians. For instance, I am not from Lagos State, but I have the right to buy any plot of land in Lagos State. And if I buy a plot of land in Lagos State, it becomes mine until 100 years, or maybe 99 years, as the case may be. And if I want to renew, or my children want to renew, they can renew, and it becomes mine. Why should the issue of settler, indigenous settler be an issue?
You know, it's an issue because of the antecedents. It didn't just start yesterday. The idea of cattle colony was thrown at us by the Minister of Agriculture, Outrage, and people resisted because colony means you are coming to take over a part of a community to exercise.
Are Nigerians uncomfortable with the word colony?
You know, we were colonized by the Britons. Even though they came in a subtle manner, brought education, brought mirrors to our leaders.
Brought religion.
Exactly, and all other issues. But here, you are coming through the access of blood. Don't forget that when Benue State was the stage of this agenda, one morning, the first day of January, over 100 human beings were killed in protest of anti-grazing law. And that gave a group an intimidating power over the laws of the state. And now, let's talk about Ruga. Ruga means rural grazing area.
But those who perpetrated the act in Benue have not been identified as coming from a certain area.
We are not denying. That is why, you see, even in court, you hear from the plaintiff and the defendant. That is why you are now hearing it will solve the herders-farmers clash. And some of us are saying there was never a clash. We only had an attack, aggressive attack, killings, which we have not denied, and we are preaching against reprisal. Now, how is it going to solve the problem? Let's trace it back. We have ranches in this country. The president himself, whom I respect so much, has a ranch. I mean, many of them. This is a business. It's just like banks. You go to some state capitals, you see about 17 banks on the same street for strategic reasons. So if herders need an area of a society, go and negotiate, like banks negotiate. Lawyers have offices across the nation. You see, what is the interest of the government? And going forward, the suspicion of Fulanizing Nigeria is coming, because we are not just dealing with local herders now, the local Fulanis. It's like the Fulanis in the Sahel region have spotted Nigeria as a bride, and they want to come and take over. And in conflict resolution, the approach is wrong. And that is why we have this resistance.
So this is more about the approach.
There is no element of national interest. And if you are telling me that rural grazing area needs facilities and infrastructure, why don't you create these facilities in the whole country and let businesses locate themselves within the available facilities? Who doesn't need a health facility? Who doesn't need education? And again, the suspicion for me is that by nature, the herders are nomadic. They have been grazing
they don't have the tendency
all
of staying
across
in
the
one
countries
place.
before now. What is the involvement of this bloodletting? So every sane society will be afraid.
Okay. All right, Dari, the point there is the government on paper, if you look at the reasons the government has given and all of the points, it's beautiful on paper. But a lot of Nigerians have also said that the mode of communication, the language of communication, the way at which the issue was communicated was not done well for Nigerians to understand and buy in. Do you have an issue with the communication?
I said it earlier. The manner in which we are going about is one. Okay. Two, on paper, I would say it is beautifully dangerous. beautifully dangerous in the sense that...
Why dangerous in the beauty?
Dangerous in the sense that, yes, we've been able to see a situation whereby the government paints a very rosy picture of how this will solve farmer-herder clash, while hiding the dangerous implication in the areas, the future implications in the areas where we are citing.
But a lot of others will say we are just deducing that what is not there.
Deduction. We have antecedents in this country. Jos has been boiling for years, and the issue is indigene settlers issue. Our constitution only vaguely took care of this issue. Our constitution is yet to really entrench the settlements we all assume when it comes to indigenes and settlers. That is one. Two, the use of the word ruga, even, I am not very comfortable, nor am I accepting that it's an acronym, rural grazing. I think it is not. Somebody needs to really explain. I've had people say it's an Hausa word for something that you can simply, I mean, it's a Fulani word for something you can simply describe as sabo in Hausa. We all know what a sabo is in Hausa. So my fear about the communication is, it appears dictatorial. We are going to put settlements in each local government of the country. Why must we have it in all the local governments? By the time you have one local government per state across the country, peopled by Fulanis across the entire country, I think it is dangerous.
Well, the point there is, okay, let's take that as your opinion and all of that. Thank you very much for coming, Dari. Thank you very much. Jide Ologun, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio a journalist, Dari Odufowokon, as well as a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, we head to the papers now, and we start with The Guardian. Foreign airlines shun Nigeria's airspace over safety concerns. Operators blame poor communication on qualified traffic controllers. We are restructuring airspace to end challenges, says NAMA. House of Reps tasks aviation agencies on standards. And we'll move to the front page of the Nation newspaper, showing cattle colonies can set Nigeria on fire. Rivers reject policy. Plateau PDP, Birom community tackle Lalong. And on the front page of the Daily Trust, how Magajingerin Daura was rescued. Victim in Abuja for medical checks. Jubilation in Daura. All right, we move to the Nigerian News Direct. Nigeria holds about 2.2% of global oil reserves. Baru, largest producer of oil and gas in Africa. And on the front page of the Blueprint, my next level requires formidable team, as President Buhari is speaking there. He says he's determined to end insecurity. We'll be looking at that shortly. And finally, on the papers this morning, on the front page of the Daily Sun, Lawan, Senate won't be rubber stamp, says senators will monitor contract award, execution, others. Interesting. But gentlemen, I'd like for us to look at the president's statement saying his next level requires a formidable team to help him deliver on his promises to Nigerians. You know, the promise in 2015, when the president came, he had a focus on fighting insecurity, tackling corruption, and also looking at the economy as well. And now the president is saying that, you know, to take Nigerians to the next level, he needs a formidable team. Is he trying to say he's moving away from what we used to have in 2015, because there was calls for resignation of some ministers, so to speak? I'll start with you, Mr. Ologun.
I quite agree with the president that he needs a formidable team if indeed he's embarking on transformational leadership. And here we're talking about efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency in the sense that they have to work around the clock and tackle the challenges we have in the country now. Effectiveness on the part of delivering positive results. Like you mentioned, towards the 2015 elections, we had promises on interventions in the economy, fighting corruption, and the insecurity. And today, it appears that those matters were worse. So the change train could not deliver effectively. And now we are moving to the next level.
Yeah.
And the question is that next level of what? Are we going to reverse this ugly situation?
He wants to leave Nigeria better than Nigerians better.
And we expect that, I mean, talking about incumbency, the team should have been ready. I had the privilege of being with a governorship candidate.
They've gone through the checks.
What?
The team, speaking about ministers, they've gone through the checks, security checks and all of that.
Yeah, but security checks, but they still have to be presented to the National Assembly, you know. So we expect that if the situation of this country is considered as an emergency, you know, we should have gone beyond this. But let me go a step further. I think we should be focusing on the institutions that we have and the effectiveness. The ministers, by and large, are to supervise the functions of the MDAs that we have on ground. So why is it that with the MDAs, with the budget, with all the efforts, we have poverty in the land, we have gross insecurity in the land, we have ongoing corruption? So I think my advice to the president is that, yes, you need a formidable team, but you need more to leave a legacy behind of development, because Nigeria should not be left in the state of poverty when he is leaving office. So we need to engage all we have to assure
let's bring Dari into the discussion now. Successive governments since 1999 has always come up with one promise or the other. And what Nigerians really want is not that much. But it seems that so much hasn't been done to address what Nigerians really want. What would the president be doing differently now when it comes to working with his team to ensure that what he has promised will be delivered?
Successive governments have tried their very best, but nobody can give what he or she does not have. So they all gave what they had while they had the chance. And so I won't say they've not done anything, like Boya said. Probably they've not done much. Talking about Buhari's first term, I also not agree that the things he promised to change remain the same or they are worse. For example, the battle against corruption. And I want to give it to this administration or not. It has done a lot to improve the psyche of the average Nigerian. We have come to know.
But some persons will tell you that what we are doing is just recovering of money. It's not that, and that is not fighting corruption.
I don't agree. Some fellows have been sent to prison since they came. Some fellows have had to flee the country. Many who traveled abroad before his coming are yet to return. These are, you see, punishment is not always about getting people locked up. Punishment at times could be letting people really see that you are bad.
So what should
you stole money, you can no longer come back to the country, you are seeking asylum here and there. It's punitive.
And now he's talking about having a formidable team. What do you expect?
Coming to that.
Because we are running short of time.
His formidable team should come and build on the achievements he achieved in the area of fighting corruption. The battle against insurgency, yes, we are yet to win it, but I believe that the approaches he has used, if improved upon, will give us the promise, take us the promised land. Now he's talking about having a formidable team. It's sharing news to me, and I'll tell you why. President Buhari created fear in my mind towards the end of his last administration, when, while hosting the last crop of ministers, he said it is the best team he has seen in a long time. He said they are so good, and that is why he did not bother to change them. I became afraid that the same thing that Nigerians are asking for change, this is not good enough. But saying he needs, he's agreeing that something or...
So you expect that this time around, most of them, you wouldn't be fined?
Maybe most, maybe some. Yeah. But definitely he has agreed that that team can be improved upon. And that's why he's saying he now needs a formidable team. So I'm happy. So let's have a team that will help him deliver on his promises. Let's have a team that will work in tandem with himself and the legislature to deliver to Nigerians the much needed dividends of democracy.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Gentlemen, thank you for your contribution on the newspaper review this morning. To take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers, I have with me in the studio a journalist, Dario Odufo, as well as lawyer and public affairs analyst, Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and I start with The Guardian. Foreign airlines shun Nigeria's airspace over safety concerns. Operators blame poor communication on qualified traffic controllers. We are restructuring airspace to end challenges, says NAMA. House of Reps tasks aviation agencies on standards. And then we'll move to the front page of The Nation newspaper, showing cattle colonies can set Nigeria on fire. Rivers rejects policy. Plateau PDP, Biram community tackle Lalong. On the front page of the Daily Trust, how Makajingeri Daura was rescued, victim in Abuja for medical checks. Jubilation in Daura. And finally, on the front page of the Blueprint, my next level requires formidable team, Buhari, determined to end insecurity. Well, gentlemen, the story I'd like for us to discuss this morning is not on the front page of the newspapers, but it's a viral video that has gone wild with several reactions. Right now, there is a protest going on in Abuja, well, at the police headquarters. We'll quickly take the video now to show you the magnitude to which Nigerians are reacting to that incident of Senator Elisha Abu assaulting a lady in a shop in Abuja.
My friend, we are not enemies. We are friends and I've known her for over 5 years. But she insulted me. She said that I am drunk, I am stupid, I am mad. She insulted me. All I want is that Zago Koma will go and tell them that on Monday that is one. Drop your phone while I'm talking. I said drop your phone.
She's talking to her father. I'm talking to her.
I said drop your phone now, I'm talking. You call him but nobody's arresting you.
Drop the phone. You're very stupid. Please take it easy now.
You are very stupid. You are very stupid. I think you're very stupid. As we come with you. Are you mad? I know where you go. I think you're very stupid. Take her. Go with her. No.
Now, that video is disturbing, and it has caused a lot of reactions on social media. A lot of people, and like I was saying earlier before we played the video, there is a protest ongoing now in Abuja at the police headquarters led by DG Adeyanju. Now, gentlemen, that is a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a 41-year-old, said to be the youngest senator, so to speak. What's your reaction to this, first of all? A senator who is expected to make laws against violence against women, so to speak, engaging in this? I'll start with you, Dari.
Well, it's unfortunate that one is being vindicated over a stance I took when this
not too young to run
thing started. I said back then, I think it was on Journalist Hangout, that while I would support generational power shift to a large extent, we must critically examine the age range we want to begin to put this thing. I was specific about the issue of the Senate. I insisted 40 years to go to Senate is too young.
But your age does not say
it does.
That you should,
no,
whether you are 41 or less, you should understand when it comes to...
I'm coming to this particular issue.
All right.
But I'm telling you about the vindication I feel as I sit down. 40 years in the Senate, you see, there are certain maturities required for certain offices that I think we should put into consideration when we are going to be saying, okay, let's move the age ladder lower. Be that as that may. The young man here, forget the fact that he's a senator. Assaulting a woman in a public place would have been, with or without his being a senator, a terrible thing to do. Unfortunately, He is a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Elected. And do you know how he came to the Senate? He defeated the highly respected, suave, intelligent, and obeying Senator Binta Garba.
That was the people's choice.
That is to tell you because the people had that alternative in him. They saw in him an alternative. Maybe he has never done something like this before. Now, he found himself in a situation provoked to anger. And his age played a role. And what did he do? He started beating up women in public. And
His age played a role?
His age played a role.
His age?
He's descended of a woman. Unfortunately, we all have to live with that stigma because he is a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
His age played a role. I am not supposed to be emotional about this, but I need to ask you this question. Should age play roles in situations like this?
This is a complex crisis that has psychological, emotional, social implications. To start with, we recall that some elderly members of the National Assembly forced the gate open, climbed the gate to go.
And we've seen situations where there were fights at the assembly, people carrying chairs.
This is emotional intelligence deficiency. And emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of your emotions, control your emotions, express your emotions in a decent manner. And for somebody that occupies the position of a honorable personality, I think this has gone beyond the bounds. But reportedly, I assume he must have been drunk, which is also another issue. So I tie with the
That's an
point.
Assumption.
Yeah,
because it didn't seem like it.
I'm wondering if somebody behaving like that is still asking, are you mad? Then who exactly is mad? I mean, or have we lost the context of madness? You see, and if this is coming from somebody that occupies such an exalted office, we need to be careful. Again, I just want to commend something we must identify. That in that shop, there's a CCTV that captured this. Perhaps there are more cases.
You need to hold the thought. We have our correspondent joining us from the Force headquarters in Abuja, the venue of the planned protest, TVC senior correspondent Femi Akonde, to talk to us about the protest. Now, Femi, talk to us now what is happening at the police headquarters. Has the protesters arrived?
Yes, Veronica, they have arrived. They are mobilizing from here, and then they'll move to the police headquarters to submit this petition of assault against Senator Elisha Abo of the PDP on a woman at an adult sex shop in Abuja. Well, the lead activist, Deji Adeyanju, is also here. Deji, hi. Deji is also here. You know, you put up this information on Twitter yesterday, and a lot of people have converged here. How serious would you say this action from a distinguished senator is?
Yes, you see, basically,
or allegation, alleged. Yes,
basically there's documentary evidence, video, through the video recording of the CCTV. And basically what worries us is that this crime happened with the direct supervision of a police officer, you understand, which is probably maybe a police orderly that was attached to the distinguished senator. And whether we like it or not, Nigerians, we must get to a place where public officials are held accountable for their actions. You understand? And you can see from what is going on in the country that if we allow this thing to become a culture and a norm, that the women in our country will become endangered. Because if a distinguished senator can do that at a public place, you can imagine what he does in private. So it's a simple issue that we know that originally the police will tell us that they do not have, you know, a petition, therefore they cannot, you know, take action. And that's why we have come, you know, early this morning, you understand, that this matter has become a matter of national urgent importance, and that is the reason why we are gathering here. And as we gather here now, we will now proceed to do the protest in front of the IG's office just right over there. Then we'll proceed and go and do the submission.
Okay, people are also talking about police officers assigned as orderlies, orderlies to VIPs. Now, they are the ones aiding and abetting this kind of impunity. What does this say about the force, and what should change?
You see, we cannot issue a general blanket statement and say that everybody in the police is bad. No. You see, the former IG, the two past former IG tried to make a situation where they withdraw police orderlies from VIPs. And that's something that this current IG too must consider. Because a situation where half of the policing force in the country they are guiding VIPs. Then the remaining half are left to, guard the people, then that's why you have this whole issue of insecurity all over the country. So one of the pleadings why we are here today is that an investigation must be done into the assault by Senator Abo, and again the police officer that was seen in that CCTV must also be brought to book. It's a simple issue that there's already documentary evidence. We're just providing the backing, the required backing through this petition, and you can see the generality of Nigerians that are gathered here, that we are all in agreement that such an act cannot be accepted or tolerated in our country.
All right then. Thank you very much, Deji, and wish you the best with that action. Well, Veronica, there you have it. The peaceful demonstration has just started. They'll be moving from here to the force headquarters, and we believe that a senior police officer will come out to address them and also formally receive this petition. And it remains to be seen what the police will do with this.
All right, Femi, we'll definitely keep a close tab with you on this issue. Thank you. All right, gentlemen, we can see the protest has begun and the petition that is to be issued there. But then again, there was an issue that was raised. A police officer was with him at the shop. He didn't do anything.
But like we said behind the camera here, what would the policeman have done? He who pays the piper, he takes the tune.
Really?
How did the policeman get to that spot? He came with the senator. So how did he come about moving around town with the senator? He was probably assigned to him. And if he's assigned to him, he will be paying him some allowances. So he is at that point in time not a police officer of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but a police officer to Senator
Elisha
Abo. And then if Senator Elisha Abo at that point chose to beat up anybody, the duty of that policeman is to protect the senator. But something
has to be done with regards to that.
The thing to be done is, like Adeyanju said there, if we have so much insecurity problems across the country, and each senator will have at least one policeman to himself, calculate the number of senators we have, each members of the House of Rep, each commissioner, each governor, and at the end of the day, majority of the police force is depleted into protecting or guiding VIPs all over the place. We need to have a rethink about how we draft our police officers.
Mr. Logo, what should be done in this case?
It's a matter of loyalty. Is the policeman loyal to the laws of the land?
Beyond the police now, how should this matter be addressed?
Let's defend the fact that Nigeria has good values. It's quite embarrassing that a senator will be doing this, because to the outside world, it portrays us as if we don't have respect, not just for the female gender, but for each other. That's what we call social intelligence. But I still assume that there must have been some inducements, and it's also worse that this happened in an adult sex shop. I mean, this is a complex situation, and I hope it's not a reflection of a larger reality that have been concealed somehow. And again, it touches on what do we use the office for? That status, is it for pleasure or for delivering services to the people? And then I hope that the relevant stakeholders will ensure that this is not swept under the carpet, and that will begin to restructure our value system
all right,
as a people.
Speaking about relevant stakeholders, let's get back to our correspondent Femi Akonde to talk to us more on what the protesters intend to do to ensure or push to ensure that justice is done for those who were assaulted. Femi, can you hear me?
Well, yeah, I can hear you, Veronica. Well, this protest, one thing it's talking about now is the issue of gender-based violence. This has been on the front burner for so long, and people are saying that they don't expect this from no one less than a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic. Let me talk to Indicator now about the about the issue of gender-based violence and how this continues to be on the front burner.
Good morning. Very troubling to see that video yesterday. I remember when I saw it posted by a news blog, I was like, oh, this blog is a verified blog. Let me just share it. It was later in the evening that I actually watched the video. It was the level of confidence that this man in public office could hit this woman repeatedly like that, and then use the policeman who was right next to him to threaten them and say, take her away, take her. It was so much violence to watch. And as a young Nigerian woman, knowing that at any point in time I can be attacked, like many of us have been faced with this situation, but this is the first time that we are seeing it caught on camera. And even as it is caught on camera, we still have people coming out to say, oh, you know, my husband is innocent, please don't. People are saying things. This is.
I want to ask you, would you say this is an isolated issue that should be treated in isolation, or it is an issue that has to do with gender-based violence that is very rampant in the society?
I think number one, this is a gross abuse of power. He knows that he was going into the Senate at the time he did it. He had police escort to back him up to do it. That's the first one. Number two is gender-based violence. Seeing someone actually hitting a woman like that. This is not the first time. Some of us in the course of work has faced this. And when you come to report, there's no proof. Madam, calm down and all of that. So this is gender-based violence, and then it is gross abuse of power, and it is very rampant in Nigeria.
So what should we expect from authorities in terms of stemming this kind of tide?
We expect that when a case is public like this, that the authorities, especially the Nigerian police, shows that there are no sacred cows. And that's why it is important that no matter the level of power a person has, if the person disobeys the law, the person is not above the law. And we expect the Nigerian police to act. We expect the Nigerian courts to allow the law take its course, because of course there's video evidence at this point. We expect the National Assembly to do something about it. We expect the political party that this man belongs to, the PDP, to release a statement and suspend this person. Again, we need to show that there are no sacred cows when it comes to these issues, and this is the time.
There's a problem now, and that is about speaking up. A lot of women are subjected to this kind of abuse, but they hardly come out to talk, and maybe because the society even judges them before hearing them out. Yeah. So what would you say that can be done to encourage women to speak up when they go through such abuses?
Well, I'm proud of women who have the strength to come out. Even some of us who are protesting have gone through issues, and you're like, oh, do I want to be the face? Do I want to be the person that everybody will point to and say, oh, this is the woman that was raped, this is the woman that was beaten? Because you have to carry that stigma after coming out. That's why we're proud of women who use their platform, women like Busola Dakolo, that will come out and say, look, this has happened to me, and damn the consequences. What it does is it makes more women comfortable to come out. This woman, if she didn't want to take this to the police, she won't have brought out the video. We hear she has been pursuing this case since, and the police has been putting it down. But then again, knowing that, look, she's not from the upper echelon of the society, but still pushing, still going as far as, look, let us bring out the CCTV tape, bring it out, put it out, go to media houses. We're very, very proud of her. And I will say that this woman needs to be protected, because if you protect victims and back victims like this, other victims will know that, look, they are not alone. Nobody can silence them. And if this kind of abuse of power happens, they can come to the law. We are hoping that the police corrects its erroneous actions by their officers with taking this man to court, prosecuting this case. We need to see arrests, and so that victims will know, look, in Nigeria, I'm not an animal. I have my life has value. Things cannot continue to happen to me and nobody will say anything. All
right, thank you very much, Ndi Kato. Well, hopefully this will be used as an index case to tackle the issues of gender-based violence and this kind of physical assault against women in the society, and also the impunity by some people in position of power and the inaction of police officers, like we saw in that video where the police officer was expected to refrain or restrain the senator from physically assaulting that lady, but he decided to look on and even also joined in helping the senator, according to that video, apprehend that lady.
Thank you, Femi. We'll definitely keep up with you on as events unfold at the protest ground at the police headquarters in Abuja. Actually. All right, gentlemen, you've heard so many things from this video, abuse of power. And we need to establish the fact that this incident happened before he was sworn in. And so he was already a senator-elect. So is it as a result of the fact that he had that confidence that he was going...
I was going to even say something. The way I was looking at that video,
yes,
I'm beginning to feel, could this attack have actually been premeditated? What do I mean? He was going to a sex shop. He had other people with him. Then he had the police escorts. And then he walked in there.
It was an issue of, yes,
that probably he actually went there because if you look at if you look at the conversation between him and the first lady, they were talking like people who knew themselves. Like the lady knew him before that day. He also knew the lady because he kept saying, if not for the fact that you are my friend, I will have dealt with you. So he knew. Then he also spoke about the lady's father. So he also knew the lady's father. Probably at 41, yes, I've gotten elected as a senator. Let me go and oppress my friends. And he went there. He expected some level of respect, fear, and the lady didn't see anything of sort. And then something little happened. He took it up, and rather than assault the lady, he assaulted the friend. So it spoke a lot about, like Barrister said, what we use the public offices for. It's an abuse of power, obviously, but it also tells us that in electing our leaders, we should begin to elect people who understand the values, responsibility, and the enormity of assignment that the office we want to give them will impose on them.
All right, an issue was raised that I'd like for us to address. Over the weekend, we had an issue where we had the COSA issue, and now this, which is somewhat trying to begin to bring up issues of gender-based violence. How do we begin to address these issues? Looking at, of course, they have been with us over time, and it seems our society is encouraging it, and now Nigerians are beginning to resist.
What we can do is to allow the law to take its course. And of course, we are all entitled to human dignity in any society we find ourselves. So this is, you know, within the wider spectrum of governance, can we say we have these elements of respect for human lives, for human dignity, and to operate with decorum? We are talking about this violent attack. The law can make provisions for the punishment, for the prevention and everything. What about also the way we even relate in a non-violent manner? You look at the way they run with their sirens, push people up. You know, we have several cases. These are just the few recorded ones. So I want to, you know, advise that except we create a culture or revive the culture of nobody is above the law, we may not be able to handle this ugly situation where a priest that is assigned to defend the law is breaking the laws. And it will be quite unfortunate. But I hope that some others will learn from this and that we don't allow reinforcement theory, because if this goes under the carpet again, someday somebody may come in a honorable position and begin to shoot people on the street.
All right,
so let's defend the good image of this nation.
Absolutely important. Thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution on the newspaper review. Thank you so much for coming. Well, we'll leave you with that video once again for you to see what happened between Senator Elisha Abu at that sex toy shop.
My friend, we are not enemies. We are friends and I've known her for over 5 years. But she insulted me. She said that I am drunk, I am stupid, I am mad. She insulted me. All I want is that Zago Koma, you go and tell them that on Monday that is one. Drop your phone while I'm talking. I said drop your phone.
She's talking to her father.
I said drop your phone now, I'm talking. You call him but nobody's arresting you.
Drop the phone. Okay, go back here. You're very stupid. Please take it easy now.
You are very stupid. What's your problem? You are very stupid. I think you are very stupid. I began with you. Are you mad?
That's really a disturbing situation there, and with the reaction of Nigerians and what they are saying, it tells that Nigeria is now becoming very aware of some of these things, and people are not ready to keep quiet anymore.
Social justice is one thing that Nigerians are beginning to, you know, shout or cry about, and they are going the whole hog to see that justice is done for any issue, whether gender-based, whatever the issue is.